Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Saha Viryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu, Mahavidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Puranana, Alayam Karunalayam, Namami Bhagavat Pada, Shankaram Loka Shankaram, Shankaram Shankaracharyam, Keshavam Badarayanam, Sutra Bhashya Krita Vande, Bhagavantav Punah Punah. In order to complete the book, the author first, today we are seeing Aparokshanubhuti. And to begin with, there is Mangala Charanam. But now, Aparokshanubhuti ka artha ye hai, you don't have to say Aparokshanubhuti. Aparokshasya anubhuti, Aparokshanubhuti, you don't have to say. Aparoksha itself is in the form of anubhuti. Aparokshasya anubhutihi, you don't have to say. Aparoksham cha, asau anubhutischa. This is aparoksha and this is in the form of anubhuti. Karmadharaya, you can take it. This is aparoksha can never be, it is self-evident. And self-evident is another word for anubhava. And therefore, your existence is very much within your experience. You don't have to experience it. I have to experience it. This is a wrong thing, please. This is a wrong thing. To recognize that truth is already within experience. Truth is already evident. Evidence means it is already in evidence. Evidence means it is already within experience. And that is your existence. Your existence cannot be experienced in time. It is already within experience. Your existence is already within experience. And therefore, you have to only recognize that aham asmi. Aham, you look at your existence as aham, and this body as idam, and discern between the two. Aham as aham, idam as idam. Aham, and therefore you always feel aham, 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 aham. Our existence is in the form of aham, and aham, I am the body, that is a pratyaya, that is called ahankara. But I am talking about the aham, the being, not aham the pratyaya, but aham the being. And discern between aham and idam, the body and the aham. And therefore, aparoksha means anubhava. You are your nature, by nature you are anubhava swarupam. By nature you are anubhava swarupam. The jagat is anubhava vishayam. Deha is anubhava vishayam. Thoughts are also anubhava vishayam. Thoughts pertain to objects. Objects are anubhava vishayam. Anubhava vishayam is different from anubhava swarupam. This you have to seriously listen. Your existence is anubhava swarupam. Your existence is anubhava swarupam, and the jagat is anubhava vishayam. And understand, and this aparoksha means an object in front is what is called pratyaksham. Like America, it is paroksham. It is there, you know that. And it is paroksham. Paroksham means it is something not, it is unlike pratyaksham. It is not right in front of me. It is not, that is also an object. This is also an object. India is also an object. And that part of the earth also is an object. And therefore, both one is a paroksham, the other is pratyaksham. An object in front is what is called pratyaksham. An object away from me is what is called paroksham. The one who sees both is what is called aparoksham. He is unlike both pratyaksham and paroksham, and therefore he is different from pratyaksham and paroksham, and therefore he is aparoksham. Aparoksham is in the form of, it is in the form of experience. It is evident. It is in the form of experience. It is in the form of evidence. And therefore, you don't have to doubt your existence, please. If you doubt your existence, then the one who doubts the existence, you cannot doubt the doubter. And the doubter, if the doubter is doubted, then every doubt is doubted. And therefore, you can never doubt your own existence. And therefore, you interact with others. And therefore, you are very much there. And you are evident, you are self-evident. And therefore, aparoksha means the evident you, the evident aham, the evident self is what is called aparoksham. Aparoksham, aparoksham. What is paroksham is something away. It is aparoksham. It is aparoksham means you think it is a matter of faith. It's not a matter of faith, it's a matter of evidence. Your existence is a matter of evidence, please. This you have to follow, you have to understand. And therefore, and this Aparokshanubhuti is being written by one Swami called, I will just tell, Munilal is Anuvadaka. It is written by Shankaracharya only. It is written by Aparokshanubhuti, has been written by Shankaracharya, or it is written Purnanandam Chidatmakam, it is said. यस्य पादप्रभाध्यस्तः प्रपञ्चो भाति भासुरः तदहं तमहं Sadgurum Vande Purnanandam Chidatmakam. And therefore, he, whoever is the author, it doesn't matter. What is important is who says what. That is not that important. What is said is important. Who says it is unimportant. Even if a child says what is right, what is wrong is wrong, even if it is said by a grown-up person. A wrong is a wrong, even if it is said by an elderly person. And therefore, what is said, that we have to see. What is said is that the evident is, your actuality is not confined to the form. Your actuality is not the form. Your actuality is free from the form. Your actuality is self-existence. And therefore, he writes a book called Aparokshanubhuti. It is Aparoksham and it is Anubhuti Swarupam, Anubhava Swarupam. It is Aparoksham and it is Anubhava Swarupam. This you can take. And therefore, the author's name is not written here. The one who has written only, they translated it into Hindi. His name is there, Munilal. But I would like to take it as Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya himself is the author, Aparokshanubhuti. That is what is given here. Sri Mangalacharana. First is Mangalacharana. Mangalacharana means when you write a book, you want to complete it. When you make a beginning of a book, beginning to write a big book, then you want to complete it also. And in order to complete it, you need Bhagavan's grace. You need the law. You need the law with you. The law of God's grace has to be there. In Vyavahara, we depend upon God's grace. In every action, in every karma, we have to depend upon grace. And without that God's grace, we cannot complete anything. We cannot do anything because the capacity to do has been given to me, in the form of upadhi, the hands and feet and the tongue and the mind, etc. All these faculties are given to me. I find myself with them. And I am only saying they are given to me by Parameshwara, the very source of the source of the universe. I find myself with them. The very source of the universe has given them to me. And therefore, and not only that, and then when I perform an action, the result also is taken care of by Parameshwara. And therefore, and that result, and therefore, Parameshwara is called Karmadhyaksha. He facilitates the karma in me, and he brings the result also. And the result, you can say that the law brings the result. All right, the law brings the result, but then the Lord is the source of the, is a silent source of the law. As the silent source of everything, he is called Parameshwara. He is not the villa. He is not a villa place. He is a silent source. And who is that? And the silent source grace is required in order to complete any work, in order to be successful in anything. And that is why Amara Guruji used to say that Yatnam, Prayatnam, Kalam, Daivam. Yatnam, Kalam, Daivam. Yatnam means Prayatnam. You make an effort. Your individual effort is what is called Yatnam. Kalam means time. You have to wait with patience. And that is what is called Yatnam, Kalam. Daivam means God's grace. All the three put together brings the brings the result. All the three are necessary in order to complete any task. In order to get any success, you require all the three: individual effort, time, and daivam, and the God's grace. All the three are required. Individual effort sometimes you make, and then you don't have the patience, and you become impatient, and you suffer that impatience. Impatience is always suffered, please. Impatience is suffered, and therefore, and that maybe when a person is destined to suffer, he may suffer. Otherwise, also, when a person becomes impatient, and impatience doesn't bring about the result. You have to patience, and therefore the time refers to that patience. Daivam refers to God's grace, and therefore, in order to get the God's grace, you have to do your duty, and dharma. Dharma with you do your duty with devotion. And when you do your duty with devotion, that will establish, that will bring the grace of the law, the grace of the Lord, the grace of the Lord. Dharma brings you the grace of the Lord. And therefore, here there is first Mangalacharan. Sri Harim. Sri Harim means the Vishnu. Sri Hari. Hari means Harati Papani, the one who takes away all the sins. By knowing whom, you become free from all the sins. You become free from all the sins means you become free from avidya. The biggest sin is avidya. A person commits a sin only because he is incomplete. He wants to become complete through a pleasure, and for the sake of that pleasure, he may commit a sin. But that sin is that when he commits that sin, but when he becomes in order, but then the Shastra says you are already complete, and therefore, when you come to know that you are already complete, then you are not a sinner, and knowing yourself as free as not the deha is understanding is like knowing Sri Hari. Sri Harim. Sri Harim means Lakshmi Patim. Lakshmi Patim. Lakshmi ki Pati. Lakshmi Pati means Vishnu, Bhagavan Vishnu. Sri Harim. Paramanandam. He is Param and he is Anandam. Param means Param should be taken as Desha Kala Vastu Paricheda Shunyam. He is free from the time limitation. He is free from. He is not located in space. He is not located in time. He is not located in. He is not located as a form. He is not a given form. He is not located in time. He is not located in space. He is not an object of time. He is not in time and space, and therefore he is called Param Anandam. He is Param. That is the meaning of the word Param. Anandam means he is of the nature of serenity, peace. He is not of the nature of jumping. He is a silent being. He is a quiet being. Like in the deep sleep state, how you are, that is a quiet being, silent being. And there are no boundaries to that peace, that serenity. And there are no boundaries. And it is infinite bliss. Freedom from incompleteness is completeness. And therefore, you don't have to do anything. You have to only handle the complete incompleteness. You have to handle only the limitation. To be free from the limitation, when you are free from the limited, you are unlimited. You are free from the incomplete, you are a complete. And therefore, Sri Harim, Bhagavan is complete. He is a silent, complete being. Param Anandam. He is Anandam. He is Anandam means, don't say that he is sports all the time. He is a silent being, because jumping around also quietens you, and ultimately what you want is tranquility. You want to be peaceful. Let me have a little peace of mind. When you become peaceful, that in peace, that peace is the nature of your being, please. Serenity is the nature of your being. Quietude is the nature of your being. Paramanandam Upadeshtaram. And he is indeed, we consider Parameshwara becomes Dakshinamurti. Dakshinamurti, Parameshwara himself, as the one who triggered off the tradition of teaching the Vedanta to the Jivas, is called Dakshinamurti. Dakshinamurtim, Parameshwaram, Dakshinamurtim, Upadeshtaram. Upadeshtaram means Upadesh karne wala ko, Ishwaram, Ishwar ko. That Ishvara, as the teacher of the Vedanta, is called Dakshinamurti. Dakshinamurti ko Vyapakam. Vyapakam means he is all pervasive. All pervasiveness is not, it doesn't move any movement. It doesn't mention any movement. He is present everywhere. To be silently present everywhere is called Vyapakam. Why water is silently there, as waterness is silent. Waterness is silent. It doesn't have a will. It doesn't use the will to be water. It is choicelessly water. It is choicelessly water. It can't use its choice to be different. It can't use its choice to be different, please. It is choiceless waterness. In the same manner, he is Vyapakam. He is silent, his silent presence everywhere. He is choiceless, Vyapakam. Sarva Lokanam. And it is present everywhere in all the worlds. In all the worlds means the worlds that are evident. Jagrat, Swapna, Yat Swapna Jagara Sushuptim Avaiti Nityam. Tad Brahma Nishkala Maham Najabhuta Sangaha. As Bhagavan himself says, the Jagrat world, Swapna world, he is present silently, presupposed by the waking. He is silently present as presupposed by the dream. He is silently present as presupposed by the deep sleep state, as thought of. Deep sleep state as one of the three states is thought of only in the waking state. And therefore, as thought of in the waking state, the deep sleep state also is silently present. And it is all experienced, please, because your existence is something that is non-evident. It is not unevident. It is evident. And evidence is another word for experience. You don't have to experience your existence. You don't have to experience the truth. It is already within your experience. And please understand this point very well. You don't have to experience. What is not within experience cannot be experienced. And please understand this. What is already within experience also need not be experienced. You don't assess, especially, it has to be recognized. What is already evident cannot be, what is already evident cannot be made evident second time. It is already evident, and therefore it needs to be recognized. What is within experience needs to be recognized. What is not within experience you can neither recognize nor can you experience. You can't. It is not in your experience. Heaven is not within your experience. You can't experience. You can't experience heaven, please. And therefore, if you experience something, it's like a dreamy thing. And therefore, what a fact that is not in experience, not evident, cannot be made evident second time. What is not evident cannot be made evident. What is evident cannot be made evident second time. What is evident can only be recognized as evident. To recognize that, recognize yourself as aham, as distinct from, as in contrast from, as a contrast to the deha. Aham, you are only aham. Aham is only aham. Idam is only idam. May you please understand this point very well. You don't have to always, you always say that I want to experience, I want to experience. You don't have to experience, you have to recognize. This you have to follow this point very well. That is why Vedanta is a praman, Shabda Pramanam to help you. It is a Jnana Shastram. It is not a Shastram to be experienced. If it is to be experienced, if the truth has to be experienced, if it is not already within experience, then how do you know that there is a truth? If it is already not evident, if you are not there, and that is why it is said that Brahman, that is none other than yourself, that is evident. You have to recognize that you are not Deha. I am only Aham. This body is only Idam, and between the two there is a contrast. This understanding, this recognizing, understanding this itself is what is called recognizing the truth, please. And therefore, recognition of the truth, and what is within Anubhava only you can recognize. What is evident alone you can recognize. What is not evident you cannot recognize. Karanam tam namamyaham. It is considered to be karanam. It is only adhisthana karanam. Karanam means it is not a cause. What changes is a different cause. One is a changing cause, the other is a non-changing source. It cannot be called cause. Karanam we can't cause because there is no causation between the truth and the universe, the source of the universe and the universe. Between the two, there is no cause and effect relation. There is only adhishthanam. There is only truth and error relationship. This the rope doesn't change and become snake, and therefore it's not the cause. It is the truth, and the snake is an error. Please understand this point very well. The rope is the truth, the snake is an error. In the same manner, you are Satyam and everything else is Mithya, is an error. And therefore, the dreamer is the Satyam, the dream is Mithya. The waker is Satyam, the waking conscious being is Satyam, and the waking state is Mithya. And therefore, from the deep sleep, from the waking's point of view, you look upon the deep sleep state as a state of ignorance. That thinking, that conscious being is the Satyam, and what you think is Mithya. Karanam tam namamyaham. And therefore, there is no causation, there is only Satyam. There is no Karanam tam namamyaham. I salute that source, that Parameshwara, who is indeed the source of the universe, who is indeed Sri Hari, who is indeed Paramananda, who is indeed Upadeshta, who is indeed Ishvara, who is indeed present in all the worlds, and that source of everything I salute. That source of everything I salute, he says. I say, salute for what? You don't have to say what you salute for, it is there in his mind. So manas kritva, man mein rakhkar. What is that? That this book, let this book help the students. Let this book help the students. That's all. Not let this book bring a lot of money, etc. Like the modern writers. If you say let this book bring a lot of money so that I can have pleasures out of that money, then if you think like that, then you are not a jnani, please. Then you are not a jnani. Then you are an ajnani, and therefore, no. I have already said in the previous class there is a contrast. There is a conflict between desire and brahmajnanam. You can have a pleasure, but you can't have a desire. Between desire and brahmajnanam, there is a conflict. But between brahmajnanam and a pleasure, if a pleasure descends upon you, you go through silently through that pleasure. A pleasure that you find yourself with, you silently go through it. But you don't have the desire to repeat it, etc. And if you don't have the desire for a pleasure, then the pleasure doesn't go. Pleasure can go very much. There is no disagreement between pleasure and brahmajnanam, but between desire and brahmajnanam there is a conflict. And therefore, here the author doesn't say that let money come to me. He says only let this book help the students. Whoever is interested in the truth, let this book help them. That's all. And that desire is not a desire, please. It's not a desire for pleasure. It's not a desire for fullness. It is a desire for helping others. It's not a desire for helping others. Is not helping others. Not even teaching dharma. It is much more than dharma. It is just make them, let this book help the students who want to know the truth. And therefore you can never help a person by the best way of helping the persons is to teach Vedanta, because Vedanta can make them free forever. Vedanta can make them complete forever, liberate them from the desire forever. If you keep the desire going, and even if the desire is fulfilled, it is not fulfilled. Second time you want it, third time you want it, fourth again and again and again and again and again. And that is why it is called, it's like the fire that puts up its tongues the more you fulfill the desire, the more the desire demands of you, the more it demands, and therefore it is always said that, and therefore it is said it has to be understood in this book. This author doesn't mean to say let this book sell well and let it bring a lot of money. In this manner he doesn't say. He doesn't mean that. He means only let this book go and help the students. In this manner, he prays to Parameshwara. When he prays to Parameshwara, that prayer is what is called Mangalacharanam. Mangala Acharanam. This Mangalacharanam is also a tradition, because whenever you do a thing, you remember Bhagwan, because ultimately it is the Daivam that makes a difference between success and failure, and therefore the Daivam is very important. And then comes, and therefore Yatnam he has done. He has written a book. He's right, and Kalam he has got patience. He can to wait. If he is impatient, he is not a jnani. Please, jnanam always creates in you patience. Patiently wait. You patiently wait, and therefore the author has patience, and he also prays, and therefore all the three things make it make it a success. That is why we are able to read that book, Aparokshanubhuti. That means it is meant to help us. It is meant to help the students, please. It is Aparoksha is in the form of Anubhava Swarupam. This itself, this Vakya itself is a very big thing, if you understand. And then comes the Grandhaka Prayojan. What is the utility of this Grantha? What is the usefulness of Grantha? The usefulness of Grantha is Aparokshanubhutirvai Prochate Moksha Siddhaye. Prochate means Uchyate. Prochate means it is pra Uchyate. Pra Uchyate means it is taught. Aparokshanubhuti is taught. Prochate Moksha Siddhaye. It is meant to liberate the student. It is meant to, if you get the jnanam, it is not that difficult a place. You think about yourself as aham and aham and aham and aham, and that will give you, and that will make it understood very clearly that you are the truth of everything. Aham is the truth of the entire idam. The aham is the truth of, the aham is the satyam, the entire idam. Aham becomes confined to the idam, the body, and that is why, as limited, it feels it is something. The jagat is parallel to you. Jagat is not parallel to you. Jagat is made of you, and therefore here it is said Aparokshanubhutir. Why? Why means indeed. This Aparokshanubhutir prochate is taught moksha siddhaye, to establish moksha for a student. Sadbireva prayatnena Vikshaniya muhurmuhu. Sadbireva, only by the people who are good people. Sadbireva. It has to be studied also only by, one has to look at one's existence only by a good person. A good person alone is an abiding person. Everybody else is a jumping person, is an impatient person. Sadbireva. Sadbireva means by the people who have the value for dharma, who have the value for values. And that Sadbireva Prayatnena, with great effort, Vikshaniya, it has to be understood, it has to be studied, Muhur again and again. And studying Aparokshanubhuti means looking at one's own existence, please. It is not studying the book. Aparoksha is not in the book. Aparoksha is you. And therefore, you are the topic of Aparoksha. The entire literature is only talking about you. And therefore, you don't have to experience yourself. You are already within experience. This I am saying it because a lot of people may think that I have to experience, because in this world that statement is there, everywhere, everybody thinks that I have to experience it. I say, if it is not already within experience, you can never experience. If it is already within experience, then you don't have to experience, you have to only recognize it. This you have to understand, this particular point. And therefore, by discerning between Deha and your existence, everything becomes clear that you are the Satyam and the Jagat is Mithya. Jagat is Mithya, and the entire Jagat is made of you only. Vikshaniya Muhurmuhu. This is the Prayojanam of mm, Aparokshanubhuti. And Aparokshanubhuti is a literature that is pointing to Shabda only points to the truth. It doesn't qualify the truth. It is a prakriya. Prakriya only points out the truth. It doesn't qualify the truth. Please, just as just as when you point out the moon, you look at that plant, you look at the tree, you look at the branch, you look at the branch, the secondary branch, etc., and then point out. Look through the fork in the secondary branch, and you will see the thin line called that happens to be Pratipada, and thin line called the Chandrama. The moon. You call it. It is called Shakha Chandra Nyaya. It is called Shakha Chandra Nyaya means through the Shakha, you point out the moon. You show the moon. But the branch doesn't qualify the moon. Your hand also doesn't qualify the moon. Your finger doesn't qualify the moon. Nobody, your eyes don't qualify the moon. Nothing else qualifies the moon. A fact is not qualified by anything other than its nature. It's not qualified by itself also, please. It alone is. It alone is. Like the moonness is a fact. And therefore, whatever is the moon, the fact, that alone is. Like waterness of the wave is a fact. And that alone is. And whereas the wave is Vacharmadam Vikaro Namadeyam Mritika Ityeva Satyam, it is said. Vacharmadam Vikaro Namadeyam. What is a wave? It is, I call it a wave, but it is being water. I call it a wave, it is being water. What it is being is the Atma. And therefore, in the same manner, the waveness doesn't qualify the waterness. This you have to understand. Similarly, Shaka doesn't qualify the moon. The teacher doesn't qualify the moon. The taught also doesn't qualify the moon. Nothing qualifies the moon. And in the same manner, here also, the words, the Vedanta words point out the being, point out you, but they don't qualify you. They say that they use the word aham for atma, but it is aham the being, but that aham also doesn't exist when it is one without a second. Like when you use the word aham in the waking state, within the misunderstanding, you can use the word aham, but when you leave the deha, then you can't use the word aham. When you leave the deha, like in the deep sleep state, there is no aham there. You are there, but as a silent being, you are beyond the words. The words don't qualify. The words convey the truth. The words don't qualify the truth. This I have to say again and again, because the words only point out the truth. The words Shabda doesn't qualify the truth. I have to say it again and again, because you may carry these words also as a part of the truth. The words are not a part of the truth. Vedanta is not a part of the truth. Vedanta presupposes avidya, please. Vedanta presupposes avidya. Minus avidya, like literacy presupposes illiteracy, and therefore it is in the realm of illiteracy. Your learning is in the realm of illiteracy, please. Even though illiteracy, it is not made of illiteracy, it is presupposes illiteracy. In the same manner, Vedanta Shastra presupposes avidya, and therefore, what presupposes avidya is not something. It doesn't qualify the truth. Avidya about the truth, ignorance about the truth, and therefore it doesn't qualify it. They point out, the words point out the truth. The words do not qualify the truth. This you have to follow. You have to understand. Swamiji, it is very difficult. Whatever it is difficult or easy, you have to understand. I have given the example. Shakha doesn't qualify the moon. The waveness doesn't qualify the water. In the same manner, Vedanta, the Prakriya, the teaching doesn't qualify the truth. And your existence, you may call yourself within the misunderstanding when you are taking the yourself to the Deha, in that state of identification with Deha, you may call yourself Aham, but that word Aham doesn't qualify the Aham, the Atma. Atma is it is only taught by the word Aham. It is only taught, but it doesn't qualify the Atma, please. Even the word Atma is meant to point out the word actuality doesn't qualify the actuality. No word can qualify. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha, it is said. No word qualifies the truth. No thought qualifies the truth. The words don't qualify the truth, whether it is Veda, even the Vedantic words don't qualify the truth. They are meant to, it's called Shabda Pramanam. Shabda is meant only to point out the truth. And therefore, Swavarnashrama Dharmena Tapasa Haritoshanat. What happens is Swavarnashrama Dharmena. Who is that Satpurushaha? Who is that Satpurushaha? By whom it has to be studied again and again. One has to look at oneself again and again. By who is that good person? That good person means Swavarna Ashrama Dharmena. As per your Varna, as per your Ashrama, every Varna has a Dharma. Studying Veda and teaching Veda and humility and thinking about God is the dharma of a Brahmana, and fighting and Shauryam is the dharma of the Kshatriya, and the 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 business and agriculture is the dharma of the Vaishyas, and the seva is the dharma of the Sudras. This is how it is said. But then, what is that? Is it by birth or is it by one's thinking? That has to be decided. It is a matter of debate, please. Caste is a matter of debate. Caste is a matter of debate. Caste is not like Atma. You can't clinch it. You can always debate about the caste. And therefore, anything that is debatable forever. It is unclinchable. Anything that is debatable is unclinchable. Whereas truth is, your existence is undebatable, and therefore it can be clinched. It can be understood with finality. Whatever is debatable cannot be clinched, and therefore he is called a good person. Who is a good person? A person who Swavarna Ashrama Dharmena. Swavarna Ashrama Dharmena means the one as per the dharma, as per the duty of the Varna and his own ashrama. Ashrama means there are 4 ashramas. Varna we don't know, but then ashrama is Brahmacharya ashrama, Grihastha ashrama, Vanprastha ashrama, Sannyasa ashrama. As per the ashrama, Swavarnashrama Dharmena, Tapasa. Main thing is Tapasa means with great tapasya. Tapasa means with great, without fearing the dukkha, without fearing the kaya klesha, without fearing the mano klesha, mana klesha, without chitta klesha, without fearing the bodily difficulty and mental difficulty. You do your duty, haritoshana, and then you have with devotion. You do your duty, and in the name of Bhagavan with devotion, haritoshana. When you satisfy Hari, when you do your duty correctly, your being dharmic satisfies the Hari. Satisfies the Hari means, why should he be satisfied? I say, even though he is silent, he doesn't have the will, but satisfaction is from your point of view. He becomes satisfied. The Ishvara becomes satisfied, yes. The law becomes satisfied. Whether the government hears it or not, when you are going, when you are doing the right thing, when you pay your income tax, the government is satisfied. You say the government is satisfied. It is not an individual being satisfied. It is the Ishvara that is being satisfied. Haritoshanat. Haritoshanat means by Vishnu Toshana. Toshana means satisfaction. When you do your duty, when you do your duty correctly, and then as a prayer to God, that will please the law, that will please the Lord. Haritoshanat. Sadhanam prabhavet. The sadhanam means the facilitator of knowledge will become strengthened, prabhavet. Like sadhana chatushtayam becomes strengthened. It manifests in your mind. Your own prayer, your own duty, you will find through your own duty, through your own prayer, you will find yourself with proper mind. You will find yourself with proper mind to understand the truth. And therefore, sadhanam prabhavet pumsam. Pumsam means for all the human beings. Vairagyadi Chatushtayam. Vairagyadi, Viveka, Vairagyam, Shamadama Uparati, Tiriksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam, Mumukshutvam. This is what is called Sadhana Chatushtayam. Vairagyadi Chatushtayam. Vairagyadi Sadhana Chatushtayam. Vairagyadi means it is not a Vairagyadi, Vivekadi. Vairagyadi also you cannot say. Vairagyam Vivekaha, Shamadamaha, Uparati, Diksha, Shraddha, Sama. In this manner, either you can put Vairagyam from the beginning or Viveka from the beginning. Viveka in the beginning. It doesn't matter at all. Either you can begin with the statement that sadhana chatushtayam can be described with viveka in the beginning or vairagyam in the beginning. It makes no difference. Vairagyadi chatushtayam. The vairagyadi, vairagya se lekar vairagyam, viveka, shamaha, damaha, uparati, titiksha, shraddha, samadhanam. It is shat sampatti. Then mumukshutvam. The fourth one is called mumukshutvam. All these things are being described here in this book. And this and Vairagyadi Chatushtayam. Vairagyam. What is Vairagyam? First he explains what is Vairagyam. Vairagyam is Iha amutra artha phala bhoga viraga. This is what I have learned from my teacher. Iha means in this world. Iha amutra means later on in the heaven, etc. Vihamutra artha phala bhoga viragaha. I don't want any pleasure in this world. I don't want pleasure in the next world. Iti, the one who has no interest in this world or in the next world that is what is called vairagyam. The disinterestedness in the pleasures here or in the pleasures hereafter, the pleasures on the earth or the pleasures in heaven, because all of them are they are not meant to make they themselves are incomplete. How can they give me completeness? And therefore that is called vairagyam. The disinterestedness in the pleasures here and in the objects and the pleasures, objective sense pleasures later on in the other world is called vairagyam. And that but he has got his own way of the definition, and that definition we will see in the next class. Thank you very much. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much. Happy New Year to everybody, and may you be in good health and a lot of mental peace and also a lot of prosperity. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ji.